to this new video. We are now on Visual Studio to put into practice the notions seen in the previous video. To create an array is very simple. Together we will see two ways, and you can also consult the Microsoft documentation to see the others. So we will go to the next row, then show the data type we want to store in our array. Here I will store first names, so strings. I will start by giving the type, so type string, then I will put square brackets, a space, name it first name with an S for example, and add an equal sign. Then I will tap new, and as I mentioned in the previous video, new will allow us to allocate memory for our array, but also create an instance of the array class. To finish, I will write again the data type I want to store in my array, so string, and I will add square brackets, within I will put the number of values I want to store. Here I will store 3 first names, so I will put 3 in the brackets. Now we have our array, but we haven't assigned any values to it yet. And as we have seen, there are two ways to assign values in our array in C#. The first is to put braces after the square brackets and enter the values you want. Now I'm going to enter the 3 first names that I have stored in my array. So I will add quotation marks because it's a string type. I will choose Jibril as first name, for example. Then for another value, I will put a comma, then quotation marks, and Jason. Then I will add a comma again. I will also add the third name, the quotation marks, and type Ilyas. And I will finish with semicolons. This is the first way to assign values to an array. Note that each value which is in an array has an index. Here, if I choose the first name Jibril, its index will be 0. Indeed, the first value of an array is index 0. Then, if I choose Jason, it will be 1 and so on. Also note that thanks to the index, we can retrieve a value from an array to modify it, display it, etc. We will see how to do this later on. Now, let's move on to the second way of assigning values in an array. First of all, we will delete everything and only leave the semicolons. Then we will go to the next row and type your array's name as well as the square bracket and specify the index in square brackets as this is the first value of the array. Type 0 in the square brackets and same as variable, add an equal sign and enter your value, then add a semicolon. Here our first name, so Jibril in quotation marks, and do not forget the semicolon. Then we will do the same for the second name. We will not put index 2 but 1, and for the last one, not 3 but 2. Remember that the index of an array always starts with 0. Now let's imagine that we try to add a value in addition to what we have allocated. It means that we have allocated an array in memory that will contain 3 elements, but that we are going to add a 4th element. What will happen? Well, the program will indeed indicate to me that there is a problem. We have exceeded the length we gave in the brackets, and the program will not be able to run since it contains an error. So, if we have added this value, then we will have to change the 3 in the brackets and put 4 instead. And finally, to display a value of an array, type console.writeLine, put the name of the array in brackets, put brackets again, and put the index of the value you want to display in the brackets. For example, if I want to display Jibril, I'll put 0 because it is located as index 0. If I run the program, we will have Jibril displayed in the Apple window. As you can see, it's very easy. Now I'm going to give you a little exercise to do. The purpose of this exercise is the creation of a string array with the following names: Tom, Idris, Thibaut, and Rashid. Then you will have to display these values from this array in the following order: Rashid, Idris, Thibaut, and Tom. It is quite simple. You have to play with the indexes and use the break method to assign values to the array with the least number of lines of code. The fastest and the easiest way. Pause the video and I will see you right after for the correction. It is time to correct the exercise. I hope you succeeded. If not, follow the correction carefully. To begin with, it was necessary to create a string array. To do this, type string, then add square brackets. Then name it order, for example. Then add an equal sign, type new, and put back the string type and type the number of values that the array will contain, which here is 4 in square brackets. To continue, I told you to choose the easiest and fastest way to assign your values to the array, so choose and put braces right after the square brackets. So I added braces and entered the names given below. I put Tom in quotation marks, then a comma. I put Idris, then comma, Thibault, and to finish a comma, then Rashid in quotation marks. And do not forget the semicolon after the braces. Now that we have created our array, we will display the values in the order that I had given you above, which was Rashid, Idris, Thibault, and Tom. So here you just had to type console.writeLine and type the name of the array in brackets, then bracket, and in these brackets, it was necessary to put the index that corresponds to Rashid, thus 3. Then add a plus sign and quotation marks, then a space. It is just a matter of displaying so that the first names are not stuck together when we are going to launch the program. Then we will add a plus sign and repeat as for the first name Rashid, order in brackets, the index of Idris, which here is 1, then add a plus sign, quotation marks, a space, then a plus sign. Same for Thibault, add the index 2 in brackets, then a plus sign, quotation marks, a space, and a plus sign. Finally, we will do the same for Tom. Add the name of the array thus order, add the index 0 in brackets. If I run the program now, our array will be displayed. To sum up, we have created an array with 4 items, then we have used the console.writeLine function to display the values of these arrays. To retrieve these values, we named the array, and in square brackets we indicated the index corresponding to the value we wanted to retrieve. If you have chosen the console.writeLine function several times, it is also correct, as long as you have the expected result. On the other hand, there is a small problem. Let's imagine that our program has 1000 names. So we'll have to write 1000 times the instructions we wrote in the console.writeLine function. As a developer, this is impossible. Then how could we write only one line of code and display these 1000 names? Well, we will use what we call loops. It's a concept that we'll talk about in another video, but basically, it will allow us to repeat one or more instructions several times without having to write hundreds of lines of code. That's all for this video. I hope you enjoyed this video and everything was clear for you.